You're watching Cartel TV and I'm Amelia. Now before we go any further, I need you to do one thing. Subscribe to our channel. Back in February, Simone and Denny gave you a sneaky sampler of the Ioniq 5 and why it was setting new benchmarks.
Just one example is the incredible length to wheelbase ratio, which translates to a reasonably compact body yet heaps of space, not to mention the futuristic design and powertrain.
We've finally got our hands on the Ioniq 5 and we've been testing it out for a few days now, so stick around and I'll tell you everything you need to know about what makes this new electric offering so different.
Honestly, the Ioniq 5 shifts perception. And to make things even better, we have the higher trim of the two, meaning we have an all-wheel drive model with more power.
But before I electrify you, see what I did there, with the Ioniq 5 review, let me tell you about our channel partners. Do you need a car loan?
With over 40 lenders and low rates, Ausloans is a fast, easy and smart way to get instantly approved for finance. Now this sounds ridiculous, but with every new sign up using the Cartel TV link, Ausloans is giving away a holiday valued at $2,000.
Just in case having a great car loan rate isn't enough, they're adding a holiday to it. Seriously, go out and check out our socials for all the information you need to enter and win.
Now let me tell you about the Ioniq 5, and in terms of looks.
Well, it looks like the future, as it was depicted in the 80s, is finally here.
It's sharp and boxy with some cool and conspicuous features that look like they are slapped on for no particular reason.
We have those features on other cars as well because they're common and people expect them. Like plastic cladding on front-wheel drives in SUVs.
On the Ioniq 5, we have these lines in the lower rear section.
Again, no idea what these are for, but I'm kind of getting like 80s and 90s movie vibes about the future, and I'm kind of here for it.
However, the most noticeable feature at the rear is this long light.
We've seen a similar light bar on the Staria, but it just works so much better on the Ioniq 5 and when, well, not vertical.
The side view again features some sharp lines with a nice wheel design and cladding. The cutting lines over the doors add to that futuristic look.
However, this narrow angle makes the Ioniq 5 look quite compact and, quite frankly, is really deceiving when it comes to the space inside. But we'll get to that later.
The front is the best part for me. The bottom also has those lines and there is no grille per se.
But this is by far the best grille-less solution when compared to the Kona Electric or some of the other EVs.
At night, there are loads of things to notice. That's when the design of the Ioniq really shines, or should I say, lights up.
Our market gets the Ioniq 5 in two different versions.
The two-wheel drive is actually rear-wheel drive and it packs 160 kilowatts and 350 newton meters of that lovely electric motor torque. The more powerful all-wheel drive version I have adds another motor for the front wheels. It adds 70 kilowatts of power but an additional 255 newton meters of torque for the combined output of 225 kilowatts and 605 newton meters of torque.
Yep, that same instantly delivered electronic motor torque and a lot of it.
Before I go into charging times, I want to show you where the cables are kept.
Finally, we're seeing Hyundai utilising the fact that there is no engine at the front and giving us some added space where the charging cables can be kept instead.
Onboard AC charger charges a car in about 6 hours. The fast DC charger with 50 kilowatts gets it to 80% in around an hour. And the ultra fast DC charger does the same thing in under 20 minutes.
These charging times are incredibly fast and can surely slot into any lifestyle.
The official range is 430 kilowatts for this all-wheel drive version and 451 for the rear-wheel drive. This car reaches 100 in 5.2 seconds and it accelerates from 80 to 120 in just under 3.8 seconds. All versions get McPherson front suspension and multi-link rear with high-performance dampers.
The Ioniq 5 weighs around 2,100 kilograms, so it feels pretty planted and it drives really well.
However, keeping all that weight in check and not having it just float around means that it does notice very bad roads.
Nothing unexpected really. Generally speaking, the Ioniq 5 is nice and a comfortable cruiser.
It is also very good around town. Steering is light and precise, the body is not too long, the driving position is a bit elevated, and glass surfaces are huge. You also have regenerative braking.
But that powertrain, dear God, I mean 0 to 100 in 5.2 seconds is already really good, but 0 to 60 is where you're really going to smash any potential traffic light opponents. And it's because both due to that power torque figure and the fact that it is instantly available.
Overtaking is very, very easy and at any legal speed. Under 4 seconds from 80 to 120.
Can you imagine taking off from 80? I mean, this car gives so much confidence to the driver. Maybe too much.
However, driving modes play a big role in the way the throttle feels. Eco mode dulls it too much. On an EV, eco mode is important. You will actually be using it, but it's best reserved for motorway cruising.
Sport mode, on the other hand, makes the throttle feel like a raging bull. I mean, you just have to nudge it and it responds with incredible readiness. I think I love it, just a little too much.
There are two more modes. Normal, which is pretty good, but not as fun as sport.
It's the first time we've seen the regen braking work with the adaptive cruise control, and Hyundai's adaptive cruise control and lane following assist are just so good and something that you want to be using quite frequently. So the fact that it's paired with the regen braking is something that's really worth mentioning.
While opening the doors is a bit weird with this setup,
the interior is probably the main perk of the Ioniq 5, and for all the reasons you could imagine.
It is well designed, modern, futuristic, but at the same time very practical and far more spacious than the exterior dimensions would suggest. Moreover, fit and finish are awesome, and adding to it all is a heap of ambient lighting and a stunning panoramic sunroof.
In terms of things that are a matter of taste, the design is very minimalistic and reserved, although incredibly practical.
The twin screens are reminiscent of the solutions that Mercedes-Benz offers, but that's where the design similarities end. The Ioniq 5 dashboard has a few distinctive sections, starting with the quirky steering wheel, moving on to the aforementioned screens and the few physical controls under it, and ending in this simple space in front of the passenger.
In a similar way to the Staria, the dashboard is flat and lowered, which gives it a real kind of light and airy feel.
What also helps with the airy feel is a lack of the middle section where you would usually find the gearbox lever, and a very smart use of the minimalistic design.
All translates to heaps of space, and one of the reasons why is because it was conceived as an EV from scratch.
This means they could do away with the design limitations that the standard powertrains impose, including leaving space for the drive shaft, exhaust system or fuel tank.
I mean, look at all this empty space up front. Look at this space here between the passenger and the driver. I can fit my massive handbag in here, which is quite big, with no issues whatsoever.
Oh, and this central section can also slide back and forth.
Because of all this space here in the front and all the space in the back, which I'll show you in a minute, Hyundai decided to include this kind of like sleeping position for the driver. So if you're going to put the car on a 20-minute charge, maybe you can just lie here and have a 20-minute charge yourself.
Push the button and it slides back and reclines pretty far down. You can also do this to your front passenger seat if you decide they have been too chatty and it's time for them to have a rest.
Of course, you get lots of storage solutions like this open bin under the armrest and then a closed bin just here.
Cup holders in the most comfortable position ever, door pockets, this little cubby up front near the floor, and a glove box. Expectedly, charging points are also present in several places, and there is also wireless charging in this trim.
These twin screens up the front here, as well as looking very futuristic and quite stylish, also offer some excellent info.
The infotainment screen displays that awesome 360 camera with that 3D view.
Which, after seeing it in the Genesis and then the Staria, I mean, this kick-ass feature is almost becoming an expectation at this point.
There's also plenty for ED-specific content displayed, as well as the option to search charging stations around you. The dashboard displays completely different to anything we've seen from Hyundai before. It looks very future techy, clearly displays all the EV info you'd want, and carries over our favourite blind spot cameras.
But unlike Tesla, where almost everything is done through the screen, Hyundai have kept some physical buttons. Well, I mean, sort of.
These are touch-sensitive buttons to some useful shortcuts and features.
So, let's check out these rear seats.
The Ioniq 5 has the length of 4.63 metres, however its wheelbase is exactly 3 metres.
If your jaw hasn't dropped, and it should have, take a look at the ratio between these two measurements from any other vehicle, and you will see why this is simply so awesome.
What it means in practice is that legroom in the back is just astonishing. Not just for a 4.6 metre car, just generally astonishing.
I mean, I can almost stretch my legs here. Knee angle for taller passengers in the back isn't the best due to the batteries, but you know, it's really not too bad.
You could complain that there are no air vents at the back of the central console, but they are actually in B-pillars, so all cool with that. Literally.
You also get this armrest with cup holders and this little cubby, as well as 2 charging ports in the back here.
The seats slide and recline, you can control them from the side of the front passenger chair, convenient, and you can actually use that extra room in the back to add a bit more to the boot space.
While we're on this topic, let's check out the boot.
The capacity is 527 litres, which is, once again, pretty awesome, having in mind the amount of space in the cabin, the size of the vehicle, and this sloping boot lid. Load lip is present, but it's really minimal, and the wheel wells are not too imposing.
Just one thing to complain about, if I may, is that this boot floor is actually quite high up because of the battery again. You know, it actually reminds me of the boot of the Forester from about a decade ago.
The Ioniq 5 also has a front boot. In the two-wheel drive version, it has 57 litres of space, while it has just 24 litres in this one. It's a nice bonus.
The Ioniq 5 is expectedly safe, but I am just going to list some of my favourite features.
Like the remote start via smart key, reverse parking aid function, exterior mirrors, multi-collision avoidance brake, blind spot collision avoidance assist, blind spot view monitor, driver attention warning, including leading vehicle departure alert forward, collision avoidance assist, including car, pedestrian, cyclist detection, junction turning, crossing functions, lane change oncoming, side functions, evasive steering assist function, high beam assist, intelligent speed limit assist, lane following assist, lane keeping assist, line road edge, parking collision avoidance assist, reverse rear cross traffic collision, avoidance assist, rear occupation alert, warning type safe exit assist, smart cruise control including stop and go function, machine learning function based on driving style surround view monitor, and so much more.
So, what will all of this electrified goodness cost you?
Well, pricing starts at $71,900 for the single motor two-wheel drive or $75,900 for the one I have here. You can get one with weekly payments for as little as $254 per week with Oz Loans.
From what I've said so far, it looks like the Ioniq 5 has loads of great features, and from what I can tell, really not much to complain about. But I can feel you questioning me.
Amelia, do you honestly think the Ioniq 5 is really that good?
Yes it is.
Built as an EV from the ground up, the Ioniq 5 is a very accomplished car with loads of power, good autonomy for an EV, immense space on the inside, really incredible unique design, and very fast charging options.
Honestly, if you're okay with the extra cost of EVs these days, then there is absolutely no reason not to go the Ioniq 5. Hyundai has absolutely flexed when it comes to the EV, and I like what I am seeing. Thanks for watching Cartel TV. Hey, I'm really keen to know, what are your thoughts on the Ioniq 5? And what is your all-time favourite electric vehicle? And while I've got you, don't forget to give us a like on Facebook, Instagram, and anything else you can possibly think of. Till next time.